Today I feel something different. I want to do something different. So there is something that happened today that I feel like, okay, let's bring this version out because if you don't know, I am intuitive, I'm psychic, I'm multidimensional, I'm a light workers, I am everything that is not human. Not human, but at the same time, I am human. So when I was a child, I understand this part of me that is so different from everyone else that I just need to not using it, not really tuning into it, and learning how to shut it down because that was the time when after I it was the time after I initiated myself to the life mission that I have walked for 20 years, which is let's help these people to rise higher because they're not in the best place that we know. And therefore, I chose to step into the darkness and become the human that you are. Maybe not who you are right now, but the version of you who always struggles, who always feeling like this is such a difficult life moment, experience, and you just want to get out from this like frequency. And I don't know what that feels like, honestly. When I'm tuning into that version of myself, I'm just like, I don't really get it because I was like, okay, if you have this, then you just gotta do this. But the people that I see, that I saw, doesn't have that reaction. So they often do things like, let's get away, let's run away, let's fight back, let's not see it, let's like deliberately make it like it's not here when it's eventually they're just like shutting it down, putting it under control, or seems like it's under control, but it's never been under control because they just never face it in the first place. So it grows into something that you call trauma. Trauma that you experience through life that you never process, and then it's getting into your physical body, and you got cancer, you got rashes, you got headache, you got uh, bad eyesight. You just taste life differently in that way, and then you can't see the miracles, the greatness, the treasure of what this life can be. So you shut yourself down, and I don't understand that. So I decided to step into the darkness for the last 20 years, and then I just got back from it in 2018 to be like, okay, now that we are in it, finally in it, then we get to, like work on this because that's the point. Like, I'm here to actually help these people to work on this pain of this shadow, of this trauma, so they never get into it again. And I get the hint how painful it is to actually work on it yourself because it seems like you forgot who you are and what you can do and how powerful you are, and you just live by that conviction. You never get better. But if you decided to go forward with, okay, we're going to get better, and you will. That's what I did since 2018 until, and I still have it right now. But there's something that is happening with the things that I've done in my life that led me to be like, okay, we are going to infuse this two version of ourselves, which is like the one who experienced the darkness and the one who always be in the sovereignty, who always live in a higher realm, who has always been living in this fourth dimensional. And because I have experienced both, I never get to actually interconnect it these two experience. Meaning like if I can interconnect it, both experience, I'm not just witnessing from afar, I also understand how to navigate the pain, because in the fourth dimension, the version that I was, it was easy to witness, not necessarily know how to do it, like navigate the feeling and the pain. But in the third dimension, you just feel the pain. You can't get out from it. So I'm raising higher to the version of the fifth dimension of myself. And I did that in my here and now. But my full self is actually in sixth dimension. Sixth dimension for me is actually just like I'm here in everything, but I also connected to the higher realm. So the version of me who is intuitively connected to every single thing that is me, which is human. I feel that. And I get to receive this message like a freaking channeler. Like if you know channeler, you probably know what I mean. But that is essentially what I'm going to do right now. I don't know how this is going to go because I never done this to be like recording myself while I'm tuning into the version of myself who already interconnected, overlap the two experience of me. So while I'm doing this, I might do something weird. I might say sentences that doesn't make sense. I might say things that I don't even understand. I might speak a word that I don't even know it exists in the first place. It happened a lot. I can also like make this dimension to be with my other self. Meaning if there is a version of me that is higher up, there is also a version of me that is not me. That version is essentially connected to me. So sometimes they exist in the form of dimensional glitch, but you can't see it because there is a filter here. So you might not see that, but there might be like a freaking light flying around. Like like when you see there was a story about a grandma who died, and then there's a light floating around, and after a few weeks there's a light floating around her grandchildren that was in a crib. And because the baby's crib was monitored by their parents camera, the parents can see that there is a light, a small light, a circle light, like floating above the child, and the child was awake, and then the child was saying like grandma, grandma. And that essentially is a soul traveling through dimension to exist here in the form that is really condensed essence of who they are. So when you see human, the one who perform how you move is actually that small light. It can be something that is dispersed, and therefore you see aura. You got it? But when it was condensed, it was that small. So that's something that or no, this is the scariest part because I can like glitch the dimension. You might see ghosts. I hope I did not do it in this video because I've done that like in my elementary school, and that was a story for another time. I was actually listing all the ghost story that I have, but I still don't know when I'm going to feel alive to say it. But it was in my mind. So I'll be tuning into and gather and see how it goes, okay? I'm gonna quiet for a second and see how I'm going to do this. The space and time and the essence of human are so condensed in this Milky Ways, and we are experiencing light years ahead of what can this become. We understand that no one can understand this, but if you understand this, then you will understand that we don't need to say it. But once again, you understand that life is a supreme order of all the prophet that clear its way before you, and In its own way, they will come together to the full holistic of what we know as universal touch, from the golden light of what possibly the best of our work. The light has never been the same since all of the things that existed reprimand itself. To know the most important lessons are strictly forbidden for the greatest warrior of dimensional shift. The grand old folklore of crack in the sea. Right now I'm being shown of so many pictures that I don't have any recollection of things that I did today. It doesn't have any word that I can say, but I'm in a palace somewhere with beings that is inhuman, and I see a red thread. Something, I don't know what that is. I get kicked out of the palace. I don't know what that is. Remember that the greatest of all of you lays within the power that you can hold, not giving away, to hold within yourself. You gain access to power. Blue, blue, blue. And that is how I do it. It's so let me tell you what happened. I was tuning into my body. I keep the frequency going. I condense my energy to the center of my being, and then I start to connecting to my spirit council, and I'm in the middle of a desk meeting, like when you see a news broke out and United Nations hold its meeting, and that kind of desk meeting, and I am in the middle. I am the leader of the group, and I experience everyone at the same time. And then I was led to few words, hold certain meanings. I don't know how they connected, but I just say the words as they come into my mind. And then pictures coming out. At first I thought demons. And then I saw a red thread of things swirling around the room, and I'm like, don't know what that is. And I follow the thread, and I get to see more scenes from the demons. And there's a subordinate, there's the leader, there is a giant palace. And I see these beings having a talk, if you want to say, violently. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then as I tune into the picture, as I tune into the frame of images that is in my mind, they start to weave away, and I was directed into a different pictures that is more serene, more still, like nothing is happening. And I go back to myself, and I go back to my, what do you call it? The version of me that want to talk. And I tune into it, and they said a few words, and then I get a feeling that there is nothing more I can say, and I'm here explaining how what is actually happened. That's about it. I don't know what words I said. Probably doesn't make sense. I do remember saying crack in the ocean, in the sea. It's a word. It is a stream of words that is in front of my eyes. I just say that, and it's a crack in the sea. Don't know what that is. I don't know how this will be helpful for you, but if you're still tuning in till the very end, thank you for being here.